think we've always been into it. I remember I saw some list of like the best 20 sci-fi films of the 21st century, and I didn't think of myself as a science fiction fan because I don't like read nearly as many books as my brother does, and then like 15 of those 20 are my favorite movies, and I was like, oh, I guess I love science fiction.
I also think early on one of the things that we connected on was the fact that we both loved the type of sci-fi that was a little tongue-in-cheek, like Vonnegut or Hitchhiker's Guides. I think that kind of sci-fi is so disarming and yet can delve into some really complex ideas, and I think that was really attractive for this movie, for us to try to attempt that. We wanted to make something that felt so impossibly big, so impossibly ambitious, and yet so playful that you almost you can't fault it for it, for the chaos of it all. And I think we pulled it off in a really surprising way. I think we surprised ourselves even that it actually works on an emotional level. I know, is that fun? Yeah, did you guys know? We were scared the whole time. We were like, this is not gonna work. No.
Yeah. In the edit room, we were like, hey, I think this works. Hey. Rock and roll.
Yeah, exactly. But I think usually we love to chase ideas that we don't know how to do, and sci-fi is a great place for that. So yes, sci-fi is amazing.
It is very intimate, but you're right. It reminded me some parts like the Hong Kong cinema, where everything is thrown at you and you have no chance to understand what's going on. Just do it. Okay, I'm doing it. But on reflection, and as you're going into it and working, it really truly is one of the most collaborative films I've ever been on. It's a spectacle, it's huge, it's chaotic. I think they do it on purpose. They pull the rug from under you, and as you're falling, they go,
This is a good review.
But then to be joined by these fearless, legendary Jamie Lee Curtis, and then this bold man who came out of, not retirement, who decided to give us another chance to see his incredible talent 20 years later. And this one, they warned me. She sort of improvises sometimes. Don't get scared of it, because I said to them, I don't improvise, okay? I want my script, I want my lines. Don't ask me to make, I just don't know how to do that. So I got it when we had our first scene together. I was like, okay, fine. All right, now I know where I'm going. And I still, after watching the movie twice, I still don't know where I'm going with this. But I had such an incredible time. And heart. I think this film has a lot of heart.
Now, you may only see a pile of receipts, but I see a story. I can see where this story is going. It does not look good. My only job in any job I ever do is to just make sure I understand who they are and love them. That's my only job. I don't judge her. I know her. And I know a lot of Deirdres. I know there are a lot of lonely people in the world who wield their jobs as a form of a protection. It's like they're a superhero. And that desk that they work behind, I think we've all been to the post office. I think we've all been to an IRS office. There is a power in that role, and that's who she is. That's her superpower. And as far as I'm concerned, that's my only job. I've kind of joked with them. I appreciate what they do and what the movie's about and but it doesn't really matter to me. Like, it didn't matter to me. I read the script, I was like, okay, but I know her. I know exactly who she is. I know where she goes and what she does. And so for me, that's my job. And so it's a strange stew here, magical stew, kind of magical mystery tour. But as long as I know what I'm doing, I know that then my part is going to have integrity and truth and real connection. Michelle and I, our characters, have a real connection. We connected as women, just the two of us through those characters now have a intimacy that, may be very small in the movie, but it was real in the movie. And I think that's the beauty for me of it in the midst of all of this, is that there is, as you've already said so beautifully, a beating heart, there's a beating lust for life and contact and, you know, the circle. The circle is a very, you know, it's an orifice, it's an opening, it's a, no, but it's a very beautiful, it's the seed of life, it's where it all comes from. And so I felt that in this movie.
Yeah, we did not write this thinking that we'd be released opposite like 4 other multiverse things. We wrote the first draft in 2017 and then have been just trying to shorten it and get it made ever since. But it's kind of fun to see our movie come out when people are familiar with the multiverse and get to watch. I'm very excited to watch people react to ours, which is in some ways kind of a critique of multiverse stuff and a exploration of it. But like from the get-go, our idea was, let's take this further than it should go. You know, like let's break the movie with how much multiverse we do.
Yeah,
you know,
you can't say that the multiverse is infinite and not go to infinity. And so
Right,
I think
yeah.
that's what this movie is
if
trying to do.
there's infinite multiverses, why go to one? You know, like
or even 10 is too
yeah,
little. You know, you might as well just not make the
We gotta
movie.
do a different multiverse every frame at one point.
Yeah.
So first they sent me the script. I read it and I was very intrigued by it because it felt like it was going to be one of the most challenging things to do because I didn't know what the hell it was about. Multiverse, verse jumping, oh my God. Then I watched Swiss Army Man and I got even more intrigued that I would be so fascinated by a corpse farting across the ocean. Then I was dying to meet these two, I call them the evil geniuses, okay? Because I think we constantly, as actors, want to be challenged. We want to be able to try something new. And for the life of me, I have never tried a character like Evelyn Wang. So I met with them. We were at the Beverly Wilshire. They look pretty sane, right? Until they open your mouth.
Yeah.
And then I go,
She was immediately teasing us, be like, "What did you write?" And like, it was very familiar and fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because for me, I have to know where the project is coming from. And for two people who have written this insane script, I had to meet them to understand, where's the passion? Is there real passion, or is it just a job?
Yeah, Deirdre was probably the least complicated in that switching, because I think she lives in that fantasy life in her head all the time. You can't look at, excuse my French, fucking bills all day long and not live in a fantasy life of your own. But everyone else has a much more complicated fracturing.
Well, so there's the character Joy, which is the daughter, and then the villain Jobu, and Jobu Tupaki. And one of my favorite sort of parts of the process was when the three of us created the character, a third character, we created Joybu. And I love it so much because that was such a helpful texture to play with throughout the film of like, yes, everything is actually still about this family and these grounded characters in this one universe. And so when it splinters off into infinity, you have to have something to come home to, or like, what's that little flavor of both, or all of it, or three of it? You know what I mean? And so that was just a really fun thing and helpful, because I think that's what makes the movie so special, is that even as it splinters off into all these worlds, you're still feeling someone like holding you like this and just supporting you and saying like, this is gonna take you somewhere. I'm not just doing this to cause chaos, but there's a story here, and there's, you know.
Yeah, Steph did a very good job of making sure that as the villain Jobu, she didn't do things that were weird just for weird's sake, and we'd have conversations about like, okay, this part's crazy, but why? Like, why is she doing this here? Which made it a much better character. Good job.
Good job. You know, for me, I haven't done this in a while. So when I got the part, one of the most challenging things was, how do I play the same character, you know, 3 different versions of it from the Multiverse. So the Daniels and I had a lot of talk, and it was really important to me that the audience watching the movie, they can differentiate the different versions of Wayman just by the way he walks, talks, moves. So luckily we had a lot of months of prep. So I actually hired an acting coach, a voice coach, because I wanted each version of the Wayman to sound a little bit different. And then most importantly, I hired a body movement coach, and I trained with them for many sessions, so that each version of Wayman would walk and act differently.
What were the 3 animals?
It was a really fascinating process. The coach that helped me was also the coach for like DiCaprio and Margot Robbie on a lot of movies, and he would read the script, and he would pick a very specific animal for each character. So for my Wayman, Alpha Wayman was the eagle.
Can you show us that?
Eagle. And then I literally had to. We rehearsed and practiced on a stage, and I would leap up and fly and extend my arm and fly like this. C.O. Wayman, I was the fox he chose, and then what's really funny was for Wayman in this universe was a squirrel.
Right.
And I was required to do a lot of homework. I watched a lot of hours on YouTube of just like squirrel moving around, eating, and I printed out pictures of the squirrel, and I would like literally tape them all over my wall. My wife wasn't too happy, just staring at those photos for a long time. And that's how I got into character. That's how I played these different
will say,
versions of it.
it sounds so silly, but you watch it and your work it's evident, because in a single shot you will watch your character transition between these two different versions. No edits. It's all about your performance, and it works. You just click into it, and you're like, oh, I know exactly which Wayman I'm looking at, and it's incredible.
That was the tough part, and it wasn't like it was like instant. You go from like one Wayman to the next, and luckily, these are very good directors that directed me, and I'm glad I had that time to prep for it.
It worked wonderfully, and I'm so happy you're back doing it.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's very heartwarming. Thanks.